Good morning. Today we are going to deal with radioactive carbon dating and also radiation hazards. So what is radioactive carbon dating? It's a process of determining the age of an object by measuring the amount of carbon 14 radioactive carbon in the object. I repeat, it's a process of determining the age of an object by measuring the amount of carbon 14 in the object. Carbon dating measures the ratio of carbon 12 and carbon 14. By measuring this ratio, we can calculate the age of an object. And this carbon dating only works for plants and animals that are less than 50,000 years old. So carbon 12 is stable, whereas carbon 14 is radioactive. So by measuring the ratio of carbon 12 to carbon 14, we can measure or we can determine the age of an object. So let's see how carbon 14 is produced. We had already studied about cosmic rays. Cosmic rays are the extraterrestrial radiations coming to the earth, and 92% of cosmic rays are positively charged protons, but it also includes neutrons and other particles also. So whenever this cosmic rays enters the atmosphere, the neutrons in the cosmic rays bombards with nitrogen 14 of the atmosphere and thus produces radioactive carbon, that is C14. That is, radioactive carbon C14 is produced in our atmosphere by the bombardment of nitrogen 14 with the neutron in the cosmic rays. Now this C14, you can see it combines with oxygens and forms carbon dioxide. And we can measure this value, that is the ratio, and can determine the age of a fossil. So the radioactive carbon is produced in our atmosphere by the bombardment of nitrogen 14 with the neutron in the cosmic rays. So carbon has three isotopes, that is carbon 12, carbon 13 and carbon 14. And among these three isotopes, two are stable, that are carbon 12 and carbon 13, and carbon 14 is radioactive. And of these three isotopes, the most common isotope in nature is carbon 12. This is the equation that represents the formation of radioactive carbon, that is C614. So carbon 14 is produced in the atmosphere by the interaction of neutrons produced by cosmic rays with the stable isotope of nitrogen, that is nitrogen 14. So you can write the equation as N01, that is neutron, on bombarding with the nitrogen, that is nitrogen 714, will give you C614, that is the radioactive carbon, plus H11, that's a proton. So this picture shows how radioactive carbon dating process is done. For that, you can see on the top of the slide there is a sun from which cosmic radiations has been entering the atmosphere. On entering the Earth's atmosphere, they collide with an atom and producing a neutron. This neutron collides with the nitrogen atom, that is nitrogen 14, and it turns into a carbon 14. You can see here carbon 14. So the neutron produced from the cosmic radiation collide with nitrogen 14, producing a carbon 14 and a proton. Now this carbon 14, what is the role of this carbon 14? Plants absorb this carbon 14, carbon dioxide. Plants absorb carbon dioxide and incorporate carbon 14 through photosynthesis. Now what happens to animals? Animals and people eat plants and they also take in carbon 14. So this is the natural process that takes place in plants as well as in animals as well as in people. So all the living organisms exchange carbon dioxide from atmosphere. So a constant ratio of C14 to C12 is maintained in all organisms. And that ratio of C14 to C12 in the carbon dioxide molecules is equal to 1.3 into 10 raised to minus 90. So we are going to calculate this ratio, that is ratio of C14 to C12, and during the lifetime this ratio is maintained constant, having value 1.3 into 10 raised to minus 90. Now what happens when an organism dies? When an organism dies, it does not absorb carbon 14 from atmosphere. So what will happen to this ratio? The ratio will decrease. So following the death and burial, what happens? This carbon 14 to carbon 12 ratio decreases. And as a result of beta decay, see in the picture you can see that this carbon 14 undergoes beta decay and again forms nitrogen 14. So the carbon 14 undergoes beta decay and forms nitrogen 14, which has a half-life. This carbon 14 has a half-life of 5730 years. So it is therefore possible to measure the age of the material by measuring its activity caused by radioactive carbon, that is C14. So this is another picture again which shows this process, where you can see from the sun cosmic radiations are coming to the earth, and in that cosmic radiation there is a neutron which bombards with the nitrogen 14, producing a carbon 14 as well as a proton. And this carbon 14, there are three isotopes for this carbon, that is a C12, C13 and C14, out of which C12 and C13 are stable and C14 is radioactive. And this carbon is there in carbon dioxide molecules of the atmosphere, so that whenever the organisms, living organisms, consume carbon dioxide, whenever this living organisms consumes carbon dioxide, its body gets this carbon 14 content. So the plants as well as the animals and all the living organisms will absorb carbon, and the ratio of C14 to C12 is maintained constant in their lifetime. Now, following the death of these living organisms like plants, animals, what happens? This intake of C14 stops, so that the ratio got decreased. Now what happens to the remaining C14 in the body or in the dead material? This remaining C14 will change into nitrogen 14 by beta decay. Beta decay means a beta particle is emitted and this carbon 14 will become nitrogen 14, which has a half-life of 5730 years. So already we had a constant value of C14 to C12 with us, that is 1.3 into 10 raised to minus 90. Now whenever we get a fossil or a dead material, we will calculate this ratio again, and on comparing with the constant value we can determine the age of a fossil. So that is a process of radioactive carbon dating. And there is one more method which is known as argon-argon dating, which is not in syllabus, but we have to study only about this radiocarbon dating. So this again explains the process in which the plants fix atmospheric carbon dioxide into organic material as a part of photosynthesis, and after the plants die or eaten, the ratio gets declined or decreased, and comparing the remaining amount of C14 with the original value or the constant value, we can determine the age of the sample. So it's a variety of radioactive dating in which is applicable only to matter which was once living. And then this neutron is produced by cosmic ray, bombards with the nitrogen and produce radioactive carbon C14. This C14 decays with a half-life of about 5730 years by the emission of electron, which is known as beta decay. So this carbon 14 disintegrates into nitrogen 14. So carbon dating only works on fossils that used to be alive So this is the same thing which is explaining again. By measuring the ratio C14 to C12 in the atmosphere and comparing it to the ratio in the dead sample, scientists measure the age of that living thing from its death. I repeat, by measuring the ratio of C14 to C12 in the atmosphere and comparing it to the ratio in the dead sample, scientists measure the age of that living thing from its death. So moving on to our next topic, radiation hazards. So what is a radiation? It is defined as the emission and propagation of energy through space or a substance in the form of waves or particles. So we can simply say it is a propagation of energy through space. So radiation is defined as the propagation of energy, emission as well as propagation of energy through space. And there are two types of radiations, ionizing radiation and non-ionizing radiation. Ionizing radiation has high energy so that it displaces electrons from their orbits, creating charged atoms or molecules. From the word itself, ionizing means it's very, what we can say, it's very penetrating, so that it can displace the electron. So what happens when an electron gets displaced? The atoms becomes ions, or it will get a positive charge, isn't it? So creating charged atoms or molecules. So it can create DNA damage, or it can cause a cell death. So these are the harmful effects of ionizing radiations. But non-ionizing radiation creates heat in the body due to its low energy. So we can differentiate ionizing and non-ionizing radiation with their energy they possess. Ionizing radiations has a high energy which is harmful to our body, and non-ionizing radiation creates heat due to its lower energy, like infrared, MRI, etc. Now, which are the sources of radiation? Sources can be natural, which includes external radiations as well as internal radiations. External radiations means we know that the cosmic radiation, it is coming from outer space, isn't it? So it's an example for external radiation. Now internal radiation means, by the word itself, it is inside our body, isn't it? So whenever some radioactive nucleates is there within the body, the radiation due to that forms the internal natural radiation. Now, for which purposes we use this radiation? For diagnostic purposes, for therapeutic procedures, we use this radiation. So here you can see the different parts of the body which gets affected due to long-term radiation. See, eyes, which can cause cataract, thyroid, radioactive iodine builds up in thyroid. What about lungs? The DNA damage when radioactive material is breathed in, so it is harmful to the lungs. Stomach, if there is any radioactive material gets swallowed, it will affect the stomach of our body. The reproductive organs, high doses of radioactive medicines can cause sterility, and an exposure to radiation can cause redness and burning in skin. Then for bone marrow, it produces red and white blood cells. So prolonged radiation can lead to leukemia and other immune system diseases. So there are lot more harmful effects are there for radiation. Thank you.